As the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine is felt at forecourts with fuel prices at a record high, thoughts are turning to fracking as a possible saviour. Almost 40 Tory MPs and peers have issued an 11th hour plea to Boris Johnson to reverse plans to seal two of the country's only viable shale gas wells next week, claiming that pressing ahead with the fracking ban would play into the hands of the Kremlin, which they say wants to stop us following this path to energy independence. Well, 3 years ago, Quadrilla struck a supply of shale gas it says could eliminate Britain's dependency on imports by half. But following a tremor in August 2019, the government announced a moratorium compelling the firm to stop work. Two wells in Lancashire are due to be concreted over on March the 15th. But as fuel prices soar, is it time to bring back fracking? As ever, I want to hear your views. Mark at gbnews.uk or tweet us at gbnews. There's a poll running as well. But to debate this, I'm delighted to welcome climate columnist for The Independent, Donica McCarthy, director of CAR26, Lois Perry, and former Brexit Party MEP, Rupert Lowe. Great to have all three of you with me. Donica McCarthy, it's time to start fracking, isn't it?
Well, if we started fracking, it would start producing a reasonable amount of gas, maybe in 5 to 10 years, and it wouldn't take a penny off the price of gas. So it has absolutely nothing to do with the current situation that we're facing. Britain is part of the global market for gas. So if we produce more gas in the UK, it is sold on the global market. This winter, 50% of the gas produced in UK was actually exported because the price was higher. So actually, the idea that we actually go down the route of fracking rather than insulation, energy efficiency and renewables is actually the wrong way to go and plays into Putin. Let's face it, since 1973, we have had warning that our addiction to oil will fuel dictatorships, will fuel climate change, and will fuel high bills for customers. We've had 50 years to tackle this and we failed. So what we should do now is ramp up insulation for people so they're not paying huge bills, ramp up renewables because they're a quarter of the price of gas at the moment per kilowatt of electricity, and ramp up storage. That is the right way for Britain. It's the patriotic thing to do. And anybody who advocates going down the route of fossil fuels is actually betraying Britain in the light of the IPCC report that came out this week that we're facing horrific impacts for Britain and the wider world within 20 years.
Lois Perry, is it time to start fracking?
Absolutely. Well, America hasn't had any of these problems. Their energy costs are actually a sixth for the average household compared to ours. And, I think he must know that everything that he just said is absolute nonsense. I mean, if we start fracking, we can get the wells going very, very, very quickly, not 5 to 10 years. And we can be energy independent extremely quickly. We can do it at a cost plus setting so that we have domestic low energy prices, and then we can export the gas and make a profit elsewhere. There's lots of ways around it. It's absolutely essential that we're energy independent. And, the IPCC report, really? Come on. Does anyone take any notice of that absolute nonsense? It's completely fabricated, most of it.
Rupert Lowe, what's your view about Britain's energy future?
Well, my view is obviously we should work towards increasing the amount of energy that we produce from renewables. And I'm involved in battery storage businesses, and I'm also involved in heat pump businesses. We're trying to design a more efficient heat pump. And these are things that we should be doing. But for us not to be using a relatively clean source of natural gas, which is there and available for us on multiple sites, not least, as you just outlined, the Trough of Poland, where we've got enough natural gas to supply us for the next 50 years. I think the logical thing, and again, we've seen a lack of logic over the COVID 2-year sort of aberration, and I think this is completely illogical. And we heard the first speaker, I've never heard so much drivel in my life, but at the end of the day, what we need to do is we need to frack. We need to use that gas to transition to cleaner energy. If I tell you that on battery storage, as an example, we are wasting large quantities of energy that's produced overnight by our offshore wind farms because there is no battery storage to collect that and to match the generation with usage. So there's a lot that needs to be done to actually improve what we're doing. But meanwhile, to be at the beck and call of Mr. Putin or anybody else, and we are to much less extent in his if you like, hold than Europe has since they've abandoned a lot of nuclear energy. So I would advise everybody to read an article Boris wrote entitled "Ignore Doom Mongers, Britain Should Get Fracking," which he wrote in 2012, and before he was influenced by Kerry. And, you know, I think we're not very careful with food prices shooting up as well. I doubt that Boris, Kerry or indeed Zach Goldsmith are going to face a decision as to whether they heat or whether they eat. So I think logic would suggest we need to get fracking right now. And I've been saying that for some time. And I hope that common sense will increasingly permeate through our leaders and we'll see some action to cap off our wealth.
Sorry,
lunacy.
Lois?
Can I just say that, thank you. Can I just say that I've written today to the CEO of the Oil and Gas Authority, Dr. Andrew Samuel, to actually ask him to pause the concreting of the shale wells, which is due to happen in the next week. I believe it's absolute vandalism. It's horrendous and it's spiteful. And I also have a petition as well, a House of Commons petition, which has only been going for a very short while. And we've got nearly 12,000 signatures. You know, we are entitled to a response from the government at 10,000. And, you know, the public really, really, really want to get fracking. So I urge everyone to go and sign our petition.
Lois, one moment, Donica. Lois, how can my viewers find that petition?
If you go onto Google and put "end fracking ban petition," it will come up straight away. Number one, top of Google.
Donica, great to have you back on the show. Good to see you again. The bottom line is that insulating homes will cost billions. It will take many years, and it probably won't make a significant difference. It won't make a significant difference to energy prices in the short and medium terms. And surely we should frack because that takes us out of the iron grip of Vladimir Putin.
And climate change. So actually what's going on here is untrue. It's a betrayal of the British people. If we had listened to people like these over the last 20 years, we would have not improved energy efficiency for lighting, would not improved energy efficiency for fridges, and we would not improved efficiency for central heating. And the public would be paying 10 times more for electric for lighting.
You don't care about the public. You hate humans.
And so the
we
net
know that
zero
you
is
hate
saving
humans.
cost homeowners hundreds and hundreds of pounds already. And we must keep going that way.
Donica, we shouldn't have listened to the green zealots like you ignoring the shale gas beneath our feet. 500 years of coal on our shores, 20 years worth of North Sea oil. Instead, we've imported it from dictators like Vladimir Putin, all because of your green policies.
Do you know how much renewable electricity is this winter? It's £50 a megawatt. Gas is £200.
It's subsidised.
You are lying about the renewables. They don't require the subsidies that they required 10 years ago, and it's untrue.
They do require
it is
wind
saving
and sun.
hundreds of pounds this winter for homeowners. And please don't repeat these lies. It's not fair to the public.
Well, the debate will continue. My sincere thanks to Donica McCarthy, who is a climate columnist at The Independent, the director of Car 26, Lois Perry, and former Brexit Party MEP, entrepreneur and broadcaster Rupert Lowe. Thank you for your time.